Have you ever met someone who seems unbreakable? Someone who walks into every room with fire in their eyes, confident, brave, full of energy. That's Aries. They laugh the loudest, dream the biggest, and fight harder than anyone else. But what you don't see is what happens when the fire goes out. Behind that fearless smile, there's a quiet sadness, one they never let the world see. Because for Aries, showing pain feels like losing control. They'd rather burn alone in silence than admit they're hurting. They carry their sadness like armor, hidden beneath jokes, work, or endless distractions. They push forward, pretending they're fine, while deep down, they're fighting battles no one knows about. And maybe that's the hardest part. Everyone sees their strength, but few ever see their loneliness. Today, we're going to look deeper. We're going to uncover the silent sadness of Aries, the pain they hide, the reason they stay strong, and the quiet way they heal when no one is watching. Aries, the first sign of the Zodiac, the spark that begins everything. They're ruled by Mars, the planet of fire, action, and passion. That's why Aries are known for their unstoppable energy. They don't wait, they move. They chase dreams, protect people they love, and never back down from a challenge. But here's the truth most people forget. That same fire that makes Aries powerful also makes them fragile. Aries are strong because they've had to be. They carry the weight of leadership, often the first to step up, the first to take risks, the first to fight for what's right. Yet deep down, they crave something softer, someone who understands that behind their boldness is a heart that bruises easily. They love hard, sometimes too hard. They trust fast, they forgive quickly, and when they fall completely. But when that trust is broken, it cuts deeper than anyone realizes. Because Aries don't just lose a person, they lose a part of their fire. You see, their vulnerability hides inside their courage. Every time they stand up again after being hurt, it's not because they feel strong. It's because they refuse to let pain define them. That's what makes Aries so different. They don't run away from life, they run through it, even when it burns. Many people think Aries are impulsive or reckless, but what they really are is hopeful. They believe that every new beginning, every sunrise, every new connection could be the one that restores their faith in love, in people, in themselves. Still, they rarely show this side to the world. They laugh it off, make jokes, keep moving. Because for Aries, stopping means feeling, and feeling can be overwhelming. So they turn their emotions into action. They work harder, dream bigger, help others, anything to keep that flame alive. And yet, when night falls, when no one's watching, that's when their true self appears. They replay conversations in their head. They wonder if they're too much, too emotional, too intense. They wonder if maybe, just maybe, they care more than they should. But here's the secret. That intensity, that fire, that emotional honesty, that's what makes Aries beautiful. They love without filters. They fight for what matters. They live like every moment counts because for them, it does. So if you have an Aries in your life, remember this. Their strength isn't the absence of pain. It's the art of turning pain into power. Their courage doesn't mean they never fall. It means they rise every single time, even when it hurts. Because that's who Aries really is, a warrior with a gentle heart, a leader who feels deeply, and a soul that burns brightly, even in the dark. Aries doesn't like to be seen as weak. It's not pride, it's protection. From a young age, they learn that the world moves fast and rewards strength, so they build armor. They tell themselves, I'm fine. They smile through disappointment, laugh through heartbreak, and turn pain into motivation. But inside, There's a quiet storm, one that never really goes away. You see, for Aries, showing pain feels like losing control, and control is everything. When life gets messy, they don't cry in front of people. They clean, they fix, they plan, they do. Action is their coping mechanism. It's easier to keep moving than to stand still and feel the ache. And when they're hurt, they pull away, not because they don't care, but because they care too much. They don't want to burden anyone with their emotions. They don't want pity. They don't want to be asked, "What's wrong?" because they wouldn't know where to begin. So they go silent. They disappear into work, hobbies, or solitude. They post happy photos, make new plans, start new projects. And people think, "Wow, they're doing great." But what they don't see is the nights when Aries lies awake, overthinking every word they didn't say, every feeling they tried to bury. Their silence isn't emptiness, it's protection. When Aries loves, they give everything, their time, energy, soul. So when something breaks, it's not easy to rebuild. They need time alone to gather the broken pieces before showing the world their light again. And maybe that's what makes them so misunderstood. People see their confidence, but not their exhaustion. They see their fire, but not the ashes it leaves behind. They see their smile, but not the cracks underneath. The truth is, Aries' pain is often invisible. They hide it behind sarcasm, jokes, or that "I've got this" attitude. They become the strong friend, the motivator, the one everyone runs to, even when they're the ones silently breaking. But here's something beautiful. Even in their silence, Aries never loses hope. Their heart always believes that tomorrow can be better. They might fall apart in private, but they'll rise again, stronger, softer, and even more determined. Because deep down, Aries doesn't want to give up on love, or people, or themselves. They just want someone who sees beyond the mask. Someone who doesn't ask them to be strong all the time. Someone who lets them be human. If you ever love an Aries, listen carefully. Not just what they say, but to what they don't say. Notice the pauses, the quiet moments, the way their laughter sometimes sounds a little forced. That's when they need you most. Hold space for their silence. Let them know they don't have to fight alone. Because even the strongest warrior needs a place to rest their sword. Aries may hide their pain, but that doesn't mean they don't feel deeply. It means they're trying to protect their heart while still believing in the goodness of the world. And maybe that's what makes their struggle so beautiful. It's silent, yes, but it's full of courage, full of faith, and full of love. Healing for Aries doesn't happen overnight. It's not a moment, it's a process, a long, quiet journey back to themselves. Because when Aries gets hurt, it's not just their heart that breaks, it's their belief in their own fire. And for someone born of flame, losing that spark can feel like losing everything. But here's the thing about Aries. They were never meant to stay down for long. They are ruled by Mars, the warrior, the survivor. Even when they fall, some part of them is already whispering, "Get up, you're not done yet." At first, they try to heal by doing, working harder, chasing goals, distracting themselves with new beginnings. It's their way of saying, "I'm okay." But true healing begins when they finally stop running, when they sit still enough to feel the fire flicker again inside their own chest. For Aries, healing starts with honesty, not with others, but with themselves. Admitting, "Yes, I'm tired. Yes, that hurt. Yes, I need time." It's one of the hardest things for them to do because it feels like surrender. But in truth, it's strength, the kind that rebuilds from within. Then comes movement, not the frantic kind that hides pain,
but the kind that restores the soul. A walk under the sun, a late-night drive with music that understands, a new project, not to prove something, but to rediscover who they are beyond the hurt. And slowly, the world begins to open up again. They laugh a little louder. They trust a little more. They remember that life isn't always a fight. Sometimes it's a dance. What truly heals Aries is connection. Being around people who see their light even when it's dim. Friends who don't try to fix them, but simply stand beside them in the dark. Someone who says, "You don't have to be strong right now. Just be." In those moments, Aries learns something profound. That vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the doorway back to love, to meaning, to themselves. They begin to understand that the same fire that once burned them can also warm them. That passion doesn't always have to roar. Sometimes it glows softly like a candle guiding them home. And when they rise again, because they always do, they rise wiser. Their fire becomes gentler, more focused. They no longer burn everything around them to feel alive. Instead, they learn to protect their own light. Healing doesn't erase the scars, but Aries doesn't want it to. Each scar is proof that they fought, that they felt, that they lived. They carry those marks proudly, like constellations across their soul, reminding them of where they've been. When Aries heals, they become even more powerful, not because they're invincible, but because they finally understand their own rhythm, when to fight, when to rest, when to speak, and when to simply breathe. They start to use their fire differently, to create, to inspire, to lead with compassion instead of pride. They begin to see that their strength was never about pretending not to hurt, but about daring to love again after they do. And that's the beauty of Aries. They always come back to life. No matter how dark it gets, no matter how many times the world dims their spark, they find a way to reignite it, brighter, braver, softer than before. Because at their core, Aries isn't just fire. They are rebirth. They are sunrise after the longest night. They are proof that even after the flame dies, the warmth remains. And from that warmth, a new light begins.
At the end of the day, Aries reminds us of something we often forget, that strength isn't about never breaking. It's about having the courage to rebuild again and again. Aries teaches us that passion is a gift. It's the heartbeat of life, the thing that makes us chase dreams, love deeply, and stand up after every fall. But they also show us that fire needs balance. Without rest, even the brightest flame burns itself out. Through Aries, we learn that true strength is not the absence of pain, but the willingness to feel it, to grow from it, and to keep loving the world anyway. Their courage isn't loud, it's raw and real. It's found in those quiet moments when they whisper to themselves, "I'll try again tomorrow." Aries loves fiercely, sometimes too fiercely. They give their all, and when they fall hard. But even after heartbreak, even after disappointment, they never stop believing in love. Because deep down, Aries knows love is what keeps their fire alive. They remind us that to love is to risk, and that's what makes it beautiful. Love without fear is love without depth. And Aries, they dive deep, even if it hurts. That's their magic. That's their lesson to us all. If you've ever loved an Aries, you know this. They challenge you to grow. They'll push you, question you, ignite you. They make you feel alive, sometimes too much, sometimes not enough. But you'll never forget them, because Aries doesn't enter your life quietly. They arrive like a sunrise, impossible to ignore and impossible not to feel. And if you are an Aries, know this: your fire is your gift to the world. Your passion, your honesty, your wild courage, they inspire others more than you realize. Even when you stumble, even when you doubt yourself, the world still feels your warmth. You are the reminder that beginnings are sacred, that courage lives in every breath we take after pain, and that love, no matter how many times it breaks, is always worth it. So thank you, Aries, for teaching us to rise, to fight for what matters, and to love with our whole hearts. Because in the grand story of the Zodiac, you are the flame that starts it all. The first spark of the Zodiac, the eternal reminder that life begins with fire.